Welcome to On Deck with DeRo Arch. I am Eric DeRosset along with Darren Archer. To Wednesday, June the what is it today, Darren? The 10th,
Today's
11th,
10th.
10th. So it's a Wednesday game. Let's see, game 4 of the NBA playoffs will be tonight, or NBA championship. So that's kind of where we're at as a point of reference. This show will actually be released on Friday. So game 4 will be in the books by the time this show gets released. But anyway, lots of good sports things to talk about. Before I get started, Darren, how's life in your world?
Buddy, if it was any better, they'd have to make two of me. It's going really well.
Yep.
And some other sports that are going on this week, the World Cup gets started. Games will be taking place up in Kansas City. And I actually, just out of curiosity, looked at some ticket prices for one of the Argentina games. And low side, cheap seats were over $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I'll watch from home.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, I think I would like to say, yeah, I went. Like,
Sure.
Before you would have told me the price, I would have said, well, yeah, that'd be a good event to take in and say you did it.
Exactly. And that's
Not,
honestly, that's one of the reasons why I was,
yeah,
looking into it. Hey, I can say I saw Messi in person, and
yeah.
not going to say that for $1,000. So
No,
I can't see him.
no. Wow, $1,000. I would not have guessed that. I would not have
Yeah,
guessed that they would be
that's
that
low
high.
side. That's low side.
Interesting.
And
Wow.
also, NHL
Yeah.
finals are going on as we're talking, and series is tied up 2-2. This is probably going to go to Game 7.
Yeah.
It's been a very good series so far, and I'm not a huge hockey fan, but just like with any other professional sport, once it gets into its playoff, I'll tune in and try to stay abreast of what's going on, and it's been very entertaining. A lot of goals scored. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, you're right. Lots of good sports things going on right now. So good time to be a sports fan. I'm going to start with just referencing Stacey King, a former NBA player that passed away this week at the age of 59. Yeah, we'll just leave that there. That seems awfully young to you and I at kind of at our stage of life. But Mr. King spent 8 years in the NBA as a player. The cool thing for him is he spent his first 4 years with the Bulls, and 3 of those 4 years were a three-peat segment of the Bulls' history. And so King had 3 championship rings in his first 4 years. After he finished his career with the Bulls, he did some spot coaching and some things like that in the CBA, Continental Basketball Association, and actually, I believe, won a championship as a coach in the CBA. But not long after his coaching career, he began his work as an analyst for the Bulls and did so for 19 seasons with the Bulls. And you and I don't have much point of reference on his time as a Bulls analyst because we just don't have a way of hearing their broadcast that much. But by all accounts, was a very beloved analyst in Bulls Nation there. As a collegiate player, played for OU and played under Billy Tubbs, which I think that would have made for some great stories alone. Just time with Billy Tubbs, let alone then going and playing with the Bulls thereafter. But the thing I was going to note about his college career was one season he led the then Big 8 conference in scoring. Now, and I'm going to let you sort of reference the Big 8 during that time that he would have been in there.
Gosh, that was probably the premier basketball conference in the nation.
Yeah.
probably along with the ACC, maybe
Probably.
during that time period. But I would still hedge my money on
Right.
that conference. But very good, Danny Manning
Yeah.
and company, and
Mhm.
you can go on down the list. It
Yeah.
was a really good time for basketball in the Midwest.
Yeah. I mean, Tubbs was coaching there. Norm
Right.
Stewart and the MU Tigers, they were very formidable during that time. I mean, they were landing some big time recruits, and Eddie Sutton was at Oklahoma State. And I mean, that was a legit conference. So my point being, to lead the Big Eight in scoring during that time, you were definitely a dude. So
You were a dude.
yeah, sympathies out to Stacey King's family and all those connected to him. Kind of a sad passing in the fact that it kind of takes you and I back to what we think of as basketball, maybe our time where it was most meaningful, perhaps during that era, right through there. So yeah, tough loss for the basketball world. Mr. Stacey King dead at the age of 59. On a brighter side, Freddie Freeman, first baseman for the Los Angeles Dodgers, collected his 2500 or 2,500 hit this week. He is the active leading hit getter in the major leagues at this point. So Freeman is 36 years old. So he needs 500 hits to reach 3,000 at the age of 36. What do you think there? He have enough left in him to get 500 hits over the next 3 or 4 years?
Boy, it sure seems like it. It appears from the outside looking in that there's plenty of gas left in his tank. I think it all amounts to, does he want to continue to do it? I think the ability is certainly there. No doubt about that. I think he could play into his, I wouldn't say mid 40s, but that cusp between the early 40s and mid 40s age wise. And,
Yeah.
I know he's got children that are getting older, and,
Right.
how much money is enough.
Yeah.
It all depends on what he wants to do personally moving forward, but he's certainly capable. It's just, is he willing?
Right. And by all accounts, and we don't know firsthand, but third party looking in, it appears that Freeman is the consummate professional in terms of
Yes.
what he does on the field, the things he does off the field, family persona that seems to be there. As far as we can tell, checks all the boxes in terms of just what a professional baseball player should be. And you never know under the surface, but just looking in, he seems to have it all figured out and well on his way. So, yeah, it'd be cool to see him get the 3,000. I'll throw a few other names at you that are in the conversation for active all-time hit leaders right now. Now, Tuve is 2,400-ish hits presently. Andrew McCutcheon, who just recently released, is in that 2,400 neighborhood. And then following behind those two, Paul Goldschmidt, Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Harper, and Trout kind of make up the top 10 there. So this is certainly put you on the spot. We didn't prep for this, but any names that you might have thought would be in that top 10 that aren't?
Oh gosh, that's a great question.
Yeah, and like I say, I didn't give any lead time. So
we're right offhand. Just thinking of people that with a pretty long career that have been able to do it over the span of their career. Not really.
Yeah. I'm trying to think as
on
we
there
sit
that
here.
surprises me.
Yes.
Xander Bogaerts surprises me.
Me too.
Bit.
Yeah.
I would never have guessed him.
And Bogaerts is actually ahead of Harper and Trout, which surprising.
Yeah, that is. Let me
So,
ask you this. Since you're throwing me a curveball, I'm going to throw you a changeup.
okay.
Okay. Of those names you listed, how many of those guys end up in the Hall of Fame?
Wow. That is a good question. I think Harper and Trout land there.
Mhm.
Um, Name recognition is huge for them. Uh, Doing it so young, they both were so young when they
Yeah.
started. Um, I think they make it. Altuve, not sure. I think there is that stain associated with him, whether it's fair or not.
Right.
We don't
Agree.
know, but there is that a little asterisk, if you will.
Yeah, it almost has that steroid era feeling to it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it
For a
does.
whole different reason.
And I'm not saying it's legit or not. I mean, he may
Sure.
not. It may not be. I feel like maybe a Goldschmidt is probably on the outside looking in. What would you think on Goldschmidt?
Boy,
But
yeah,
knocking on the door, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, boy, he's just, I mean, I can think of some other people uh, that were kind of in his spot, maybe even
Yeah.
higher, more regarded as
Yeah.
worthy of being in the Hall of Fame that aren't in there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say he's pretty iffy.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And hey, and I'll tell you this, I would not want to be a Hall of Fame voter. Like, I, I think some people would think would be a cool job, and kudos to them for wanting to do that. I don't want any part of that. That's They haven't asked, but I still don't want any part of it. I just think that'd be really tough to split those hairs on who gets in and who just barely doesn't.
Yeah, because you have a standard that dates back over 100 years that you have to basically uh, make sure that the people you're voting for apply to those standards, not necessarily a standard,
Right.
standards plural. Uh,
Yes.
and with the change of eras in baseball, it's just really hard to gauge, what
Yeah.
today, what happened back in, let's say, in the 40s, 1940s,
Right.
as opposed to 80 years later.
Yes.
Um, you know, how do those standards or equivalencies vote into whether this guy gets a vote or whether he doesn't? That's tough.
Yeah.
Very tough.
And the reason we know it's difficult, just to be honest, is you and I, when we talk, even just on this show, we have trouble sort of equating what's happened in the last 20, 25 years to what happened in the previous 25 and then the 25 before that. Like even you
Right.
and I are fuzzy on what those standards are, just as we talk among ourselves. So to have to sort of do that formally and make those discretionary decisions got to be really tough.
Yeah. We know three things that can probably, actually, two things that can keep you out. I think there's a third, and that's betting on baseball,
Yep.
steroids, and we'll
Yep.
see if banging on garbage cans is going to be included in that list or not.
I
But
think that
I would say that would have to be
I
probably not quite as bad as steroids, but it's
think
pretty bad.
think it makes the list, don't you?
Yeah, I think it qualifies.
Yep, I agree. I agree. Sticking with the baseball, and hey, I have just worn this Nolan Ryan thing out. Each of the last two shows I've mentioned Nolan Ryan. I'm going to mention him again this week, and then I promise I'll stop. Um, the first week or 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that Nolan Ryan had 7 no hitters in his career and didn't win a Cy Young. Um, Last week, I mentioned that to go along with his 7 no hitters, he had 12 one hitters over the course of his career. Digging a little further, come to find out, he had 18 two hitters in his career and 31 three hitters. So, in summary, he had 68 complete games in which he gave up 3 hits or less.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. Yeah. Again, we beat this horse like located, like let alone like nobody else is going to throw 68 complete games, let alone
Right.
with the impressiveness that he did it. So, yeah, just a further dig into just how great Nolan Ryan was as a pitcher. So, I promise fans, no Nolan Ryan news next week. I will not do that to you. Speaking of eras, we mentioned when we were having that Hall of Fame discussion about eras last week. You and I talked about batters in MLB that take any 162 section or 162 game section of their career. So it could start one year, finish the next. How many guys had hit over 400 in any single 162 game passage of games? How many guys had hit 400 or more? I believe, and I'm going from memory, I believe the list was 3.
3.
Ted Williams, Boggs, Tony Gwynn. Those 3 guys
Yes.
hit over 400 over a 162 game span. I'm jumping back an era, so we will take it with a grain of salt, but it's to me, it's still quite impressive. Ty Cobb, he had a span of 800 games in his career where he hit over 400.
Wow. It almost doesn't seem possible.
It doesn't.
I mean, obviously, it was a different game back then, but you still had to put a bat on a white ball this big. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that part of it has never changed. You still got to do one of the toughest things in sports on a fairly consistent level, baseball wise.
Right. And the seasons in, if I have it correct, were 154 games. So, hey, we're talking 7+ years. Like he hit over 400 for 7+ seasons. Just a phenomenal. Yeah. And here's the thing that I think that goes unnoticed with that or sort of taken for granted. If I'm playing in that era, if I'm a pitcher and I know I'm facing Ty Cobb that day, like I'm giving him my best. Right. So like I think every guy he saw, they weren't rolling over. Like in fact, I mean, they were trying everything they could. They were max effort, like in a competitive nature, he probably saw everybody's best for 7 straight seasons and still hit 400 or more. So, yeah, fascinating stat. Again, it's an era thing. We don't know how that we don't know how that compares out, but nonetheless, very impressive stat. Virginia Tech athletics. I'm just going to give you the opening statement, then I'm going to let you chime in with your immediate reactions. Okay. Virginia Tech just received a $75 million donation to their athletic programs and to their honors college. Period. Give me some thoughts, just right off the cuff. $75 million.
First thing, there are some college athletes that are going to be getting paid at Virginia Tech.
Yes.
And I would say there's probably going to be some very nice upgrades to facilities at Virginia Tech. That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like they're trying to jump on board and stay in line with the Jimmys and Joes and Sallys and Sues of the world and put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah. I think it just says, hey, we're serious. I mean,
yeah, well, absolutely.
The hiring of James Franklin, no matter where you're at with James Franklin as a coach, like he's coached in maybe the most pressure-filled program there is outside of Alabama and Ohio State. I think probably, I don't know, Penn State probably third or so, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. It's top
It-
5 at the very least.
yes, at a minimum. And so they hired a guy that's used to that. Had success there, although their people there probably wouldn't call it success. I mean, he won a ton of games, and so he's used to the pressure cooker to go to Virginia Tech. Here's their official statement. I love this language. Um, this donation of 75 million will be applied towards the $230 million internal initiative to upgrade facilities, recruit talent, and capitalize on the transfer portal. End of quote.
With emphasis on the last part.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. They'll be relevant. I mean, and I'm not
Well,
saying they're
sure.
not now. That's not what I was
Right,
implying.
right. But they're going to
Uh,
take that next step of relevancy.
yes. Yep.
And
Money does that now. I mean, that's just
absolutely.
where we're
I
at.
mean, that's where we're at as far as college athletics is concerned. And, another, I'm going to stay on topic with the NCAA, but kind of jumping off topic, is the quarterback from Texas Tech that was ruled ineligible by the NCAA for betting when he was attending Indiana University. Was ruled ineligible by the NCAA, takes the ruling to court, gets it overturned. He will be eligible to play at Texas Tech next year. And I'm telling you, it is the wild, wild west. And I think that's why the NCAA has really backed off. Their power's been taken out of their hands. It's been taken out of their hands by the Power 5 conferences and their commissioners. It's been taken out of their hands. The power's been taken out of their hands by the court system.
Mm-hmm.
And buddy, you find a booster that is holding the right seat in the judicial system.
Yeah.
Go play, son.
Yeah. The reaction to that decision and the reaction of other schools to Texas Tech, that surprised me a little bit. It didn't surprise me that they had that reaction. It surprised me that they were that open with their reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Very transparent, I felt like.
Very. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it is what it is. And I know the president of the United States, love him or hate him, and I don't want to make this any type of one of those type talk shows.
No, yeah.
But has put together a council for college sports, college athletics, and it'll be interesting to see how that moves forward. Something has to be done. I think everybody knows it. Unfortunately, the colleges and universities are trying to get the most bang out of their buck, and until there's a lasso put on that, it's going to continue to be the Wild West, in my opinion.
Yes, and you're exactly right about the president situation. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle that
Right.
president was on. Like this move was necessary. It is
Absolutely.
necessary, and it's necessary because the NCAA either can't or won't or isn't allowed to govern itself anymore. I mean and it's not all entirely their fault.
Right.
And some of it is their decision and their path, and then some of it is like you said, they're powerless with some things. And so I think your point is valid, is that it is to the point where this third party, i.e. the government, or that council or whatever you want to talk about, like somebody has to step in and sort of rein this in, and it's got to come from a neutral source. So yeah, I agree with you. It's time. and hey, let's speed it up if possible. Like let's go ahead
Right.
and dive into it and let's see. Let's just see where
Yeah.
we're at. Um, because you and I both know that the longer it hangs out there, the more lawsuits there are, the more Texas Tech situations there are, good or bad, doesn't matter. Uh, there's going to be a lot of that go on
Absolutely.
until it's sort of reined in. So yes, valid point. Time for action on somebody's part that's outside of it. Going to switch attention to Major League Baseball, current Major League Baseball. Dodgers continue to play well, and I'm going to tell you why they continue to play well. And it's not because I think I'm smart at baseball, because I'm probably not. Uh, the Dodgers are playing well because since May the 13th, the Dodgers starting pitching ERA is 1.99.
Wow.
So very nearly a month, getting close to a month. And the Dodgers starters ERA in the last month, 1.99 ERA.
That's amazing for one person to do over that time span, let alone
Agree.
a whole pitching staff.
Yeah.
As far as starters are concerned, I still think Los Angeles' weakest link are those gap pitchers between starters and setup guys, the closers.
Yeah.
I just still think if there's a chink in that armor, that's where it lies, and look for them to be movers.
Yeah.
Before the trade deadline, and they've got the power to do it. Their farm system is absolutely loaded. They're just going to get better.
Yeah. Agree.
And
Go ahead.
and they have a former Cy Young winner sitting on the shelf due to an injury with Blake Snell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to a lot of teams that would be devastating.
Right.
I
Yes.
mean, it would set them back. For them,
Yeah.
it's man up. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Just for a point of reference, the Phillies are second. Their Phillies starters are second in team ERA since May the 13th, and they're at 2.77. So that tells you that's the gap between
Yeah.
first and second. So that tells you where the Dodgers
See,
are.
I'm telling you, I'd take 2.77 to the bank every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah. As
That's
a Reds
pretty
fan,
good.
I'd take 2.77 over the next week. Like
As a Cubs fan, I would take 7.77.
I understand. Oh, yes, I'm living your pain, man. Through
Oh
you're
boy.
living it through the Cubs, and I'm living it through the Reds. It's
Oh
painful. It's so painful.
gosh.
Yeah. Speaking of your Cubs, nice job on the segue there. You asked me last week about some potential guys that might move at the trade deadline.
Right.
I sort of referenced some teams that I thought would be sellers. Some of them obvious, maybe some of them not quite so obvious. So I sort of tried this week to maybe come up with two or three names that might move. That kind of middle of the road guys, not big names. But as I thought about the Cubs, I was thinking they needed a starter or two to shore up
Or
things on their
4
end.
or 5 or 6.
Uh, True. One of the names I heard, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, that's a perfect fit. And then I've added one to it. So the one I heard was Daniel Walker of the Royals as potentially going to the Cubs. I think you would take that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's a former NL Central guy. He understands that dynamic of Brewers and Cardinals and all those things that happen there in the NL Central.
Right.
I think he'd be a great fit. He's presently 4-4, but his ERA is 3.44, so would definitely fit that mold. And then I went a step further with another Royal starter who I think might fit the Cubs and sort of I don't want to say a bargain price, but a manageable price, and that would be Seth Lugo.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, would you take him
Both
as well?
of those, one or both.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of teams that would. I mean, that just shores up your starting pitching staff. And um, gosh, I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to uh, find two guys of that capability that will probably uh, be able to get come trade deadline time. And it's a shame because their only issue this year has been they don't have any run support.
Yeah.
Uh, Kansas City just cannot score runs, and uh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think pitching is going to be at a premium this
Right.
trade deadline. I think there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters, heavy pitchers
Yeah.
moved at the trade deadline, and they're going to bring a premium price.
Yeah. And let me put it in perspective this way. As a Cubs fan, year in and year out, always chasing the Brewers. And that's just they're good, and they're always chasing them. So if I told you that, hey, the Brewers just added Daniel Walker, you'd be like, son of a gun, right? Like that would be your
Absolutely.
reaction. And
Yep.
so, like that, I think that's the impact that he could have for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Because where else win the division, like you would be like, oh, that team got better. It would be that.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think that's how I try to measure when my team's sort of looking up and trying to stay in a playoff. When a deal go by and it goes to somebody else, and I'm jealous of that deal, that tells me that he would have helped my team.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
another player that I just thought of today, I saw highlights of him, Joe Adell
Mhm.
for the Angels. Not a marquee player or name in his own right. Swings a big bat, versatile in the outfield, very good defender, got an arm, makes plays, seems to have an energy about him. I can see him being a right-handed bat add for a team, especially National League. Maybe I can see him maybe
Yeah.
going to the National League.
Agreed.
So I think that's a guy that might be on the move. What about you? Anybody that maybe stands out as a possibility, big or small?
I think the number one on probably the potential trade prospects has got to be Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to pick him up and automatically, if he's healthy. He's been on the shelf for a lot of the season. That may be by design, though.
Right. I wondered
you know
about
what
that.
I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'd say he's going to be the number one get. I can think of a couple others keeping with the pitching type theme. Sandy Alcantara,
Yep.
who started off with the Cardinals, is now with Miami. I think they'd be willing to move him.
And he's
Freddie
really
Peralta.
Yes.
And Freddie Peralta, I think he will be you'll be able to get him. It's going to cost you, and he will once again make somebody's lineup a lot better. Let me ask you this. St. Louis Cardinals, are they buyers or sellers at the deadline?
We talked about this before,
Mhm.
and so I don't want to overdo this, but with the pending lockout, I see the Cardinals staying pat-ish.
Right.
So I don't think they're going to break a bank for maybe the two pitching names that you named, three, you named three pitching names.
Mhm.
I don't think they would. I don't think they're going to go at that level. But in that next tier is the Seth Lugo, Daniel Walker types that don't cost you your firstborn.
Right.
You're like they're affordable. I can see the Cardinals maybe pulling the trigger on that. I honestly think, as bad as it is mathematically, I can see them trading for a guy who's at the end of his contract, and they just he's truly a rent guy. We're truly just going to rent him, and then at the end of the season he walks. We wash our hands, and I don't think the Cardinals are going to take on a contract of any significance.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw that question back at you. How do you see that?
I think I agree almost to a T. I think they are very tentative buyers,
Yes.
if there is such a term. They're not going to go out and just go get people. It's going to have to fit into their bigger plan.
Yep.
And not just talking about the bigger plan this fall, but down the road. Obviously, they're very young. Probably, well, they are the youngest team in baseball.
They are
having a lot of success, and there's no need to cut off your nose and spite your face. You know, they've got the pieces to the puzzle there. They just need some experience. And, you know, one area I could see them probably trying to shore up is their pitching.
I agree.
You know, they could use another 2 or 3 slot, 3 or 4 slot starter, probably. They've got a couple of young guys on there that are doing a really good job that I don't think anybody really expected. McGreevy is one of them. He's quietly had a great year so far. And, you know, I just think there's more people in the pipeline like him that they're just waiting their turn.
Yeah. Yep. And you and I both know this is the case, and we're not smarter than anybody else. It's obvious, but when the dog days of summer hit, July and August, man, the pitching, I mean, those guys, they're already tired, and the injuries, the minor injuries become major injuries, and all of a sudden, like, you just can't have enough guys. So it'll be interesting to see what the Cardinals' approach is. Credit to them for even putting themselves in that conversation.
Absolutely.
That they could be buyers like that. None of us would have dreamt that, I don't think, at this point. So I'm going to mention one more major league team and just kind of throw it out there. And you probably know more about their personnel than I do. The Nationals are very quietly 500 or above. I think they're 200 or 2 games above 500 as of today. Would not have projected them as a team above 500 by any stretch of the imagination going in. I'm going to mention their manager, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. Blake Butera, youngest manager in Major League Baseball. He's 33 years old. Spent most of his time in Tampa Bay system as a player development guy, but would have been in his 20s when he was doing that, late 20s. So a guy that's on the front end in terms of vision and what he can do. Really great job by him. Probably got players on his squad that are older than him. So I think I can only name a couple of guys from the Nationals, if I'm just being honest. So give me your rundown on the Nationals. I think you've seen them play more than I have.
Yeah, they are a lot like the Cardinals. Primarily a young team, kind of led by C.J. Abrams, who's had a really, really good year on both sides of the field. And it's where there's another team I'll throw in there as well that's really young and really good, and that's Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
They are really fun to watch. And I'm telling you, they are Cardinals, Nationals, White Sox. Keep those 3 names in mind down the road if we're playing baseball. It's those teams are going to be the type of teams that are going to make some noise here in the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, and you almost feel like you could sort of throw the Diamondbacks maybe in that conversation a little bit. I don't think they're quite as young as the 3 teams that we've named previously, but you know, kind of see some upside for them and a future
exactly
for them. I mentioned Butera as the manager for the Nationals. He is the youngest manager in Major League Baseball since 1972. So that's been a day or two. I just had to look it up just so I would know. The manager in 1972, at 33 years old, was a guy named Frank Quillisi for the Minnesota Twins. I had never heard of Mr. Quillisi, but anyway, he was a manager for the Twins as a 33-year-old, and ironically, never managed in the major leagues after that stop. He went on to be an announcer and got out of the game. So Butera certainly breaking the mold in terms of his age and leading a baseball franchise. So congratulations to the Nationals as they're playing really good baseball. Going to switch it to the NBA championship. I think we could talk about this for hours. We won't, but I think we could. Again, we're recording this show on Wednesday of Wednesday night's Game 4. So it's 2-1 right now in favor of the Knicks. We've talked about it in previous weeks. You've been a believer in the Knicks for quite some time, and with due merit. They're playing well. I'm going to sort of throw it your way, and then I'll echo after that. But I said, and you sort of agreed, that the Spurs were going to have to do something different after Game 1. Like they were stale. They needed an adjustment. It's not that they weren't trying. It's not that they didn't have passion and energy, but in terms of scheme, they were going to have to make some changes, or they were going to get blown out of the series, and still could to a degree. But I think you and I were talking prior to the show. They did some things. They did make some adjustments, and now it's time to see if the Knicks will counter. So I'm throwing that your way for a deep dive here, and then we'll bring it back.
Yeah, when we talked last week, I originally thought that San Antonio was going to have to slow the pace down quite a bit. And lo and behold, first quarter, they're outrunning with the Knicks. And I thought, oh, this is not going to end well for them. I mean, they've just got to keep the scoring down a little bit and not get into this frantic pace. But, one adjustment that they made was that you mentioned was that they moved Wembanyama off of Karl-Anthony Towns, and Wembanyama just could not guard him out on the perimeter, and so they made that adjustment. Another adjustment that we kind of talked about last week too was creating situations to where Wembanyama was getting a lot closer to the basket, getting a lot deeper on their side of the floor, and creating those scoring opportunities. One thing that I felt like San Antonio did a much better job of was controlling the boards. That obviously is going to play a big role in the rest of the games. But is it me, or did it feel like, I mean, I know San Antonio won that game by 2, but it felt like it should have been by about 10.
Yeah, I sort of kept thinking that. And in fact, here's what I was thinking. I was sort of thinking, for as good as San Antonio has played for the most part, and to only be up by the amount that they were, like, I was thinking, hey, the Knicks are the better team overall, just because the Spurs, I feel like they executed a game plan as close to perfection as they could expect. So for it not to be a bigger margin, I guess that could be a concern, right, for the Spurs?
Well, I sure think so. I know there's a lot of people, and once again, viewers and listeners, we're recording this Wednesday afternoon. Game 4's tonight. Yeah. So obviously this will be old news by the time we get to the release date on Friday. But nevertheless, we can look back and you guys can call us crazy or lucky or whatever it may be. Yeah. But I just feel like New York kind of beat themselves the other night on Monday night, not necessarily San Antonio. Brunson missed a ton of shots in that fourth quarter. And you think just one of those goes in, or if he defers, like we talked about, gets his teammates a little more involved. I hate to even bring this up, but yes, I'm going to be that guy because I don't have to pay a fine. But it almost seemed like the officials really got a tight whistle against New York in that second half, especially when that gap started getting a little more this way. There were a few questionable calls that I felt like, and hey, I have no dog in this hunt,
Right.
It just kind of seemed to me like the officials may have been handed a note saying, "Hey, let's extend this. Make sure it's not over in 4."
Yeah.
We need the advertising money and TV time. So I don't know. Just one man's opinion. You can
Sure.
agree, you can disagree. I thought San Antonio had a great game plan. That was a must. Felt like a must win for San Antonio.
Yeah.
It almost feels like tonight is too, to be honest.
I agree.
I think if it gets 3-1, it's over.
Yeah.
If they can level it up 2-2, now you're playing best of 3 series. And
Yep.
may the odds forever be in your favor.
Yeah. Here's the thing we sort of touched on, and I'm going to say this. I'm not a huge Brunson fan. I'm not a hater, but
Right.
he's not one of the guys when I think about NBA guys, I'm like, hey, yeah, I can't wait to watch him tonight or whatever. But I will say this, he may be the best closer in the game. Maybe. He's on the very short list if he's not the guy. So he's built for that, and he's used to that. He wants
Right.
the ball. New York wants him to have the ball, and he's going to go finish the deal. The interesting thing is, I think San Antonio is sort of saying, "Hey, we're going to drop Wemby in rim protection coverage for the most part, and we're going to guard Towns with a 6'6" athlete, like somebody that's athletic and can kind of body him up and make it tough on him." And so now the question becomes, is Towns a better fourth quarter option or equal to maybe as what Brunson is? He going to get as many opportunities as Brunson might get? And then beyond that, can he close the deal? Okay, if we give Towns some freedom in the fourth quarter, can he seal it? Can he go do it? And so I think New York right now is probably having to ask themselves, are we willing to do that? Your thoughts?
I think they have to. I
Yeah.
think right now there's a one, and that's Brunson. I
Yeah.
think there has to be a 1A Brunson, and I think there has to be a 1B with Towns.
Yeah.
Another thing I've noticed too is Brunson seems to lose his legs a little bit when he gets in that mode of trying to take over a game and start forcing up some shots that, it's almost out of desperation, it seems like. And they've got to get Towns involved. OG Anunoby. I think, you look at the game he had throughout the first 3 quarters the other night, and where's he at in the fourth?
Yeah.
They're standing him over in a corner, waiting for the ball to be kicked around to shoot a 3. Well, gosh, that first quarter, he was driving around people, getting to the hole and dunking.
Yeah.
You've got to dance with the girl you brought to the dance, and man, they just seem to get away from it.
Yeah. I think that would be, if I had any concern about the Knicks, and I really don't, like, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And good enough to win it. But if I had any concern is, I think they're deeper and more well-rounded in the fourth quarter than they kind of are willing to play sometimes.
Agreed. Yes.
And
agreed.
And hey, I'm not an expert like that. Mike Brown's really good coach. We've talked about him before, and he's excellent.
Yes.
and been with some of the best of the best. So I'm not questioning coaching. It almost just seems like a level of trust. Hey, this is the guy we trust, and we don't trust the others even close to the same. Your point with 1A and 1B, that's probably the best way to say it. Like, and I think where they if they do decide to stick with Brunson and let him go win it or lose it, then I think Towns has to be an offensive crasher. Like because Wemby's going to be out of position, he's going to be rim protecting and contesting shots.
Right.
And Towns has got a 6'6" guy on him, and I think Towns can go win it if he'll just go offensive rebound, and I think he could be a nightmare in that way.
Agreed.
So interesting. I think last week we said Spurs got to make some decisions. I almost think it's reversed now. I think the Knicks. I think hey, it's just check. Hey, you're in check. Spurs put the Knicks in check, so they got to make an adjustment, work their way out of it. The coaching to me this series has been really interesting because I think the adjustments have just really been obvious that they need to be made. So can't wait for a game.
They're not playing checkers. They're playing a high-class game of chess.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Can't wait for game 4. Honestly, I got my night set aside for it, so can't wait to watch.
Absolutely.
Before I move on to Hold'em Fold'em segment of our show, I'm just giving you a little teaser. NBA draft is coming up, I believe, later this month. I've kind of went back and looked at one of my favorite draft years. I'm not going to tip you off to what year that was, viewers, but in a week or so, maybe 2, we haven't got that all mapped out yet, but we're gonna go back and look at one of the coolest draft years, maybe of all time. We got some names that are associated with that draft that were tremendous players, and I'm gonna ask you if you concur, but that list of well-known names just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and a lot of those names jump off the page. It's hard to believe that they were all in the same draft class. So yeah. Looking forward to having that discussion in the future.
Yep. We'll get to that either next week or the week after, likely, and try to coincide that a little bit with the NBA draft coming up. So, Hold'em Fold'em segment of our show.
Let's go.
We're bringing this plane in for a landing. Only have 2 today. They're not super dynamic. Pretty straightforward. The first one is, as of this morning. Well, let me back up. I'll give you the premise. Here's the Hold'em Fold'em question. The Knicks, as a 1.5 favorite for game 4, is a no-brainer bet. Hold'em or Fold'em?
I'm Fold'em.
Yeah.
There is a no-brainer bet.
Okay.
Hence the 1.5 favor. Gosh, I think the safest bet on that line is probably the over-under, which last time I saw was like at 216.5.
That's what I saw.
And okay, and gosh, I mean, the money line bet's not even safe right now.
Yeah.
If you had asked me this 3 days ago before game 3, I'd have said, I'll put it all on the Knicks.
Yeah.
Empty your bank account and just roll with it.
Right.
Count the money later. But Monday kind of changed my view on things.
I agree.
A little bit.
I agree.
So no, I'm Fold'em.
Fold'em.
I may or may not wager a little bit when it comes to the NBA during playoff time. And I will say this, if I were to wager, I would not put anything on the money line to start the game. I would let the game play out, and when that lead gets one way or another, I'd probably take a flyer on whoever has the best odds at that point in time, and just take a flyer and hope that it pays out. Honestly, that to me, that's the safest bet out
Right.
there right now.
Right. What would it take? Okay, let me take this a step further. How many points would Knicks have to give up before you would take it? So would it be +3, +5, +8? Like, at what point would you take the Knicks?
Like I said a week ago, I mean, it would have been minimum.
It's
You know
basically
what
an
I'm
even
saying?
bet as it is right now. It's
It
basically
is.
even bet.
It is. And I mean, that tells you even the odds makers don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of money to be made either way, but that's why I think, once again, if I were to wager, I would kind of stay away from that and maybe look at doing a live bet once the game gets started. And let's say San Antonio on the road jumps out to a big lead, and all of a sudden, they're favored by 4 or 5 points. Well,
Right.
then you can throw some money on New York or vice versa, if the opposite happens, and you're getting more bang for your buck. I just, oof,
Yeah,
I'm staying away from that one. That's a big fold-em for me.
Yeah, agree. Second, hold 'em and fold 'em. I'm going to give you the premise in the way I wrote it, and then I'll basically clear it up of what it means bottom line. Here's the premise. LeBron James is in the top 5 all-time NBA players on the all-time team, on a positionless all-time team, considering all facets of LeBron James' game.
Yep.
So what I'm essentially saying is LeBron a top 5 player ever. Yeah. That's essentially what I'm saying. But the premise is, on the positionless all-time team, considering all things, LeBron James is in the top 5. Hold 'em or
That's
fold 'em.
a hold 'em. That's a hold 'em.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way you can keep him off there. I think even the quote unquote haters have to recognize he's top 5 of all time.
So that leads me to my next question. What 4 are you probably throwing in with him, which means my next question is going to be, how can you leave so-and-so off?
Right. Yeah. This is setting me up for failure.
Yeah. And hey, I won't hold you to these 4, because you might have a moment later and have to clear that up for us next week.
Yeah. I've been known to have senior moments. Obviously, okay, you got LeBron, obviously Jordan.
Yep.
I think Kobe's on there.
Yeah.
I think Wilt Chamberlain's on there. And that 5th one, man.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree. Like, you just can't do it almost. You almost can't do it and do it justice.
No.
I mean,
I'm just thinking of people who had the biggest impact. I mean, I want to say Bill Russell. You look at how many championships.
Yeah, he was the best all-time winner ever. I mean, in the NBA, like his teams,
and was a major reason for being a winner, for Boston.
And ushered in.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'll say him.
Yeah, I think he would have to have my top 5 too, just because he ushered in so many things to basketball. Him and Wilt, those matchups were phenomenal. He ushered in sort of this air of dominance and air to be perfect year in and year out. And then a great ambassador for the game after the fact. All things considered, be hard to keep him out of the top 5, I think. So,
agreed.
Yep, I agree. I think those are some great picks. So, anyway, that's all I have for us today. I thought we had some great material, great content. Enjoyed being around and having some conversation with you today.
You bet. Always fun to get together and talk sports.
Yeah. The ways that you can contact us are listed there on the ticker as they go across your screen. We would love to hear from you with input or stories or ideas that things that we could sort of put out there. We're always, or I'm always sort of digging for kind of an obscure story about somebody or some person that affected a sport or a generation somehow in ways that maybe it's a little unnoticed. And so, if you have any ideas for that, please let us know. We'd love to dive into that. So, Darren, anything you want to add before I sign us off?
Nope. Just hey, as always, viewers, listeners, thank you for your loyalty and watching every week. And I hope you enjoy listening to it or watching it as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. And like I always say, we're just two old coaches talking sports and have a lot of fun doing it.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. With that, I'm going to sign us off for today. You have been watching On Deck with DeRo and Arch. For Darren Archer, I am Eric DeRosset, and we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.